Chapter 2, Section 6, Vertical and Horizontal Translations. Today, we're going to learn how to analyze vertical translations and also in this lesson to analyze horizontal translations. A translation is nothing more than an operation that shifts a graph horizontally, vertically, or both. It results in a graph of the same shape and size, just in a different position. Okay, so let's look at the first example. Compare the graphs of x equals the absolute value of x and y equals the absolute value of x minus 3. Describe how the graph of y equals the absolute value of x minus 3 relates to the graph of y equals the absolute value of x. So you can see over here on the right, we'll zoom in a little bit. You see we start out with x when x is -6, y would be 6 for the parent function of y equals the absolute value of x. So -3 would be +3, 0 would be 0, 3 would be 3, and 6 would be 6. So we can graph that. And when we do, looking at the right, here's the graph we get. All right, now let's plug the values of x here to the function y equals the absolute value of x minus 3. So the absolute value of -6 is 6, so 6 minus 3 is 3. The absolute value of -3 is 3, so 3 minus 3 would be 0. The absolute value of 0 is 0, so y would be -3. The absolute value of 3 is 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. The absolute value of 6 is 6. The y value would be 3. So we can plot those points, and we do. And what we notice is we get a graph that is just like the other one, but it is down 3 units below. 1, 2, 3. And it's 3 units below on everything. So for each value of x, y equals the absolute value of x minus 3 is 3 less than the value of y equals the absolute value of x. So we know it just shifted 3 units down. Okay? So with that being known, describe how the graph of y equals x plus 5 relates to the graph of y equals x. Okay, well, this one's pretty simple. There's no absolute value signs. So if you wanted to graph it, you could. But what you're going to notice is basically your y-intercept in this equation is 5. Your y-intercept in this equation is 0. So we're going to have a plus 5 units up. So it shifted 5 units up. So the answer would be C. All right, so a family of functions is a group of functions with common characteristics. A parent function is the simplest function with these characteristics. A parent function and one more of translations make up a family of functions. So let k be a positive real number. To graph the functions y equals x plus k and y equals the absolute value of x plus k, translate a graph of the parent function up k units. If we subtract k, we would just translate the same graph down k units. So for example, we're just going to walk through this. For each function, identify the parent function and the value k. Well, in A, our parent function would be y equals, so our parent function would be y equals x, and our constant would be -2. Okay, so we know we're going to translate 2 units down. Okay, look at example B. Y equals the absolute value of y equals the negative absolute value of x plus 3. So my parent function is y equals the absolute value of x. My translation is plus 3 units up. And again, you can see in the diagram, the blue ones represent the translated graph. Okay. Identify the parent function of the value of k and y equals absolute value of x minus 1. Okay. So the parent function would be y equals the absolute value of x. And the value of k is going to be a positive 1 translated down. Okay, remember it's a positive number translated down. So it looks like our answer would be A. Going on to the next example. Writing equations for vertical translation. Write an equation for each translation. So I've got a parent function of y equals 2a. So my parent function is y equals 2x. I need to shift it. My translation is going to be down 4. So I would rewrite this equation as y equals 2x minus 4. Pretty simple. All right. The next one, the parent function is going to be y equals the absolute value of 1/4 x, and we need to translate it up a half a unit. So our new answer is just going to be y equals the absolute value of 1/4x plus 1/2. So pretty self-explanatory on those. Okay? So let's look at the next equation, or the next example. Write an equation for y equals the absolute value of 3x translated 2 units down. Well, that's pretty simple. It already gave us an equation. Okay? Y equals the absolute value of 3x translated 2 units down, so minus 2 outside the absolute value. So the answer would be C. Okay? Now, this should be in your notes, but if it's not, let's take a minute just to look at this. Okay, and we could actually put an M right here. So I got A times the absolute value of mx plus or minus b, closed absolute value sign, plus or minus c. So let's just look at this and let's kind of talk through it. The A value, okay, the A value is going to give me the slope. If it's positive, the graph's going to open up. If it's negative, it's going to open down. All right, M is my not really slope anymore, but the slope of inside of my mx plus b. And using the vertex, I can find the vertex form. I can find the vertex point. The B right here represents horizontal shift. If it's positive, it's going to shift to the left. If it's negative, it's going to shift to the right. And then I've got my C value, vertical when it goes up, and when it goes down, it shifts down as well. It's the vertical shift. Positive, it goes up. Negative, it goes down. All right. Horizontal translations, okay, it shares the same characteristics of vertical translations. So let h be a positive real number, so y equals the absolute value of x plus h. Well, that translates the graph of y equals absolute value of 8x. 8 units to the left. And if it was in the negative h, it would translate it to the right. So negative is going to translate to the right. Positive is going to translate to the left. Okay, so let's look at our example here. For each function, identify the parent function and the value of h. All right. Well, in the first example, our parent function is just y equals the absolute value of x. Okay, my translation is going to be left 3 units. Okay, let's look at this one. Y equals negative absolute value of x minus 2. Okay, so the parent function is y equals negative absolute value of x. That's the parent function. Oop. So that is the parent function. Now Let's find the translation. It's -2. So my h's value is just 2. The minus sign means we're going to translate it to the right. So we're going to move everything to the right by 2 units. Okay? Moving on. Identify the parent function and the value of h in y equals the absolute value of x minus 1. So the parent function is just y equals the absolute value of x. Alright, my h value is 1. So let's talk about this. It's going to be a graph going up and to the right and up and to the left. So it's going to translate, it's -1, so it's going to translate 1 unit to the right. Okay, 1 unit to the right. So the answer would have to be B. Okay. So that's all we have to do there. Okay, looking at the next example. Writing equations for horizontal translation. Okay, the blue graph at the right is translated of y equals absolute value of x. Write an equation for the graph. Okay, well, how many did we move? We moved to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we move to the right, it's going to be y equals the absolute value of x. We move to the right, so -5. So that's how we'd write the equation. Okay, again, remember what we gave you here on the first page, right here. Remember this. Okay? So the graph is a translation of y equals x, absolute value of x. Choose the correct equation. Well, it looks like I had to move to the left 1.5. So I should have y equals the absolute value of x. It shouldn't be minus. It's probably going to be plus 3/2. So the answer would be C. Okay, next example, graphing diagonal translations. Okay, so what that means is we're gonna translate horizontally and vertically. Okay, so let's just walk through these together one at a time. So looking at A, I got y equals the absolute value of x minus 3 plus 1. Okay, so we can tell right now I have a parent function of y equals the absolute value of x. So h equals 3 and k equals 1. The minus sign means move units to the right. So we're going to move 3 units to the right. And the plus sign means we're going to move the units up 1. So to the right 3 and up 1. So our new graph is going to be translated 3 to the right and 1 up. So the vertex is at 3, 1, and it's going to open upwards. All right, looking at B, the absolute value of, the function of x equals the absolute value of negative absolute value x plus 2 minus 2. So the parent function of f of x is negative absolute value of x, so that's going to be a downward sloping graph. H is 2. It's positive, so we're going to move 2 units to the left. And the 4 is negative, so we're going to move 4 units down. So we're going to have a new vertex of -2, -4, and the graph is going to move down. Okay, how do we tie this in? So look at example 7. Which graph is the graph of function f of x, x plus 5 plus 3? Okay, so our parent function is f of x equals the absolute value of x. Okay, we have a positive 5 inside the absolute value sign, so we know that's going to translate to the left 5 units. And right here I got a plus 3, so we know that's going to move me up 3 units. So I'm going to have a vertex of -5, 3 with the graph going up. So look at this one, -5, so we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Go up 3. 1, 2, 3. So the answer is D. Next example. Write an equation for each translation. So for the first one, I have a parent function of y equals the absolute value of x. It wants to go 2 units down and 3 units to the left. So that's going to be y equals the absolute value of x. To go to the left, we have to add. So it's going to be plus 3. We want to go down 2 outside, so it's going to be minus 2. Okay, so that's our answer for that one. The next one is the f of x, the parent function is f of x equals negative absolute value sign of x. They want to move 1 unit up and a half unit to the right. So we're going to need to subtract to go to the unit to the right and plus to go to the unit of up. So we're going to have the f of x equals negative absolute value sign x. Since we want to go to the right, we're going to have to minus 1/2, close the absolute value sign, and we want to go up 1, so plus 1. Remember, horizontal is inside the absolute value signs, vertical is outside the absolute value signs. Okay, last example. Write an equation, the g sub x equals the absolute value of x, translated 1 unit down. Okay, so we want to go 1 unit down, so that means it's going to be negative outside the box. And we want to go 7 units to the right. That's going to be inside the absolute value sign, and that is going to be negative as well. So the g sub x is going to equal the absolute value of x minus 7, close absolute value signs, minus 1. Okay, so the answer would be C. Hopefully you go through this, and as the more reps you do, the more practice you do, the easier you'll see this and the easier it'll become. Again, I can't stress you understand this page the most. If you can understand this page the most, this will help you tremendously. Good luck, and we hope to see you soon.